property and civil government. We've been talking a little bit this couple of days about the purpose of civil government. What is the purpose of civil government? Is it to be our great provider? It's to protect our liberty. All right. So it's important to teach our children that. We have property. We have internal property. And we have external property. We have the internal property of our conscience, our opinions, our ideas, our mind, our talents. Externally, we may have land, merchandise, money. We have our liberty. And the purpose of civil government is to protect all of that property, whether internal or external. And so this actually is a part of the lessons. I'm thinking in the overview, I think that this fits in with the Declaration of Independence in that Patriot link. We have the blessing as teachers now in the elementary school of having the Mighty Works of God history series. I brought them just to show you. Some of you may have already looked at them. Some of you are using them. Okay. There's a student text and a teacher's guide that go together. They work together. They match on the cover. All right. Self-government is the first one. Someone's suggesting we should put little numbers on them someplace so they can keep the order straight. But self-government is the first one. It was originally written with the intent of being for a first grader who reads well. I know there are many who put it at a different grade level because of the reading skill of their students, maybe second grade. We have some homeschool parents who have used it with maybe several of their children throughout the elementary school. I know that we had communication with a high school homeschool family. They were trying to introduce their child to God's providential history for our nation because they were just learning it. And so their high schooler worked her way through this. And they just supplemented what was in the student text with a lot of the teacher resource material that was available in the teacher's guide. So the self-government is the first one. The second volume is Liberty and Justice for All, with that lovely picture of the Statue of Liberty that the artist did for us. So that's the second one. Again, recommended for second grade, but we've had others use it at different grade levels. And just a little sidelight, we've had grandparents who have bought just the student text just for their grandchildren to read because their grandchildren are not having any teaching on America's Christian history. And so by giving them this book, they know they're having a part in teaching them. And the third volume is the Divine Providence volume, and of course, the picture of Washington crossing the Delaware, beautifully illustrated for us on the front. In the front of every one of the teacher's guides, is a chart that shows sort of the overall plan for the different years of study. So we do have an expanded version of this plan because if you looked, for example, at the second grade level under the Pioneer Movement, you would just see Lewis and Clark, and you wouldn't see those other things that I showed you on the chart earlier with the America Expanding and the Statue of Liberty and Liberty and Justice for All. You wouldn't see those on there because we do have an expanded version of that chart that we work from when we're preparing the materials. Just to quickly share with you about using the book, don't skip the teacher preparation section at the beginning. There is a whole section on teaching America's Christian history in the elementary school, and then there's a section called Using the Teacher's Guide. And I've had some people who have approached me from time to time with questions. They're going, I didn't quite understand how this worked. And I said, well, did you look at this section? Oh, no, I just skipped right past that. Okay, I know, we're all guilty. I skip the introductions to books too and just jump right into the middle of it. So, but that will show you how you can make a course overview using the material that's available to you in this book. If you are not teaching history every day, I would suggest you have to go through and decide, I can only spend this much time on each one of these sections. we've given you some guidelines, but you may have to adjust that to fit your needs and your situation. I would suggest it's better for you to teach some of the lessons in every section rather than only getting halfway through every year. Okay? Otherwise, they never get their later history. And so they're going to end up at the end with a big gap. And we don't want that. So there are suggestions for how to use the book. There are some suggestions for how they should do maps, things like that. There are some actual sample lesson plans, how you could make a different lesson plan, perhaps a little bit, maybe looks a little bit different than what's in the book. And then the sections are broken down with leading ideas. And remember, the leading ideas is what you want them to remember when they walk out of the class for today. That's what I taught them. For example, in Moses, the leading ideas, there are a lot of them, so I'm not going to tell you all of them for Moses. But first, that Moses was protected by God for his purpose. And that has a couple, that will recur. The next leading idea is that God prepares men and then he causes events. You know, God prepared Moses first. He didn't just throw him out there as the leader of the nation of Israel. He got him ready. Okay. Another leading idea, he that is faithful in a little shall be entrusted with more. And then another one, when the time was right, God called Moses to be the deliverer.